What's up, y'all? What is up? How is everyone doing today, man? You already know how it go. It's your boy B back with another video. Now, guys, I am excited to be live this early. We are going to be talking about how we can make this money phone flipping, of course, like we do all the time. But what I want to do this time is I want to really talk about what's not talked about in a lot of videos, because we all want to make money, we all want to make profit, we all want to grow, we all want to be able to have freedom, right? And phone flipping does allow you to have that, but it doesn't allow you to have that on a small scale, right? So you'll see a lot of videos. I can pull them up, I'm sure. Let me share my screen and make sure that you guys can see, right? You'll see a lot of videos that are telling you that you are able, which you are, to make money. Okay. Phone flipping. Now, when it comes to phone flipping, we are very, for some odd reason, persuaded that this is an easy income stream. Now, it is an income stream that you can easily make work for you, but it's not something. If you're sitting in a car like this, prime example, and you're driving around like this, you're not making 5 figures. You're not making 6 figures. You're going to need to be in more places, and you're going to need also to have a wider audience. Now, how do we make that happen? Right? We can't from the rip just start to think about scaling. I get calls all the time about how do I scale my business? How do I quit my job? How do I make sure I don't have a job? I really want to do this phone flipping thing. Maybe it's something you love, right? So let me give you, just in the beginning, as we start, right? I'm gonna give you guys sort of kind of the gauge on where you want to be, right? So let's say we sell cellular. That's what I always bring up, because this company right here is the company I started out with. They started taxing me for phones. I'll never forget it. They were taxing me for phones. But one thing I will say about them is that they were a company that was the easiest for me to get into personally. Okay, so I'm going to log in real quick. Give me 1 second, because I don't. Boom. All right, cool. All right. So I'm logged in. This is this should be your biggest, well, not your biggest goal, but something you want to accomplish. You want to be able to create a company that is going to be able to be buying phones on a large scale and reselling them. That if you're somebody that wants to grow your phone flipping business, that's what you should be wanting to do. You should be wanting to build a business that is a refurbisher or a buyback company, and you send the phones to overseas buyers. But you shouldn't just be thinking about, I just want to buy phones, right? If you're thinking in that manner, you're not thinking about scaling, and that's the reason why you're not able to quit your job yet. Because see, when you start thinking about, hey, what is the long-term goal, you start to understand, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to put myself in this position. I need to make sure I register my business. As you guys see, I have my business tabs right here. Both of these tabs right here are how I register businesses, and I register a lot of businesses. I was talking to a millionaire, and I'm not joking. I'm not trying to be funny or just trying to use this for content. I was talking to a millionaire on Tuesday. He's a millionaire. And he said a few funny things in this conversation. We were talking via video call. He said, dummies drive Ferraris. And I was like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, okay. And he was just like, yeah, like Ferraris, they're small cars, they're compact, they look cool, but they don't do nothing. He said, I would rather invest my money into some type of product, some type of inventory, some type of asset. And the other thing that he said was really, really good was, I created, and I lied to you, not just what he said, I created over 100 LLCs and only 2 worked. I'm gonna repeat it. He said, I created over 100 LLCs and only 2 worked. So why am I saying that? I'm saying that because, to the person watching this now, watching it later, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. But I want you to understand that as long as you keep putting the shots up, right? As long as you keep putting the shots up, you're going to continue to grow, continue to learn. And this is a good learning experience. For those that are looking to start dibbling and dabbling in the electronic space, especially the phone space, you have to be able to know what your long-term goal is. Do you want to be a refurbishing company? You want to be an insurance company? Do you want to be a company that is a refurbishing and then selling to store company? Like, what is your main goal? And a lot of us, we don't have that. So just starting out, and if you're trying to be able to quit your job in 30 days, which it can be done, it's very hard, very rare. You need a lot of people around you that are going to steer you right. And you have to also have a crazy ass work ethic and capital. But if you're looking to start making money, I want you to first start by knowing and writing down, even if you're writing it down on like a paper like this, know exactly, because I got sticky notes all over my office. Know exactly what your long goal or your long-term goal is. What is happening? What are we going towards? But let me do my intro. My name is Brandon Jones, and I specialize in helping you make an extra income. If you guys don't know, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Today, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of wide array of phone flipping tactics, from negotiations to how to source, to how to find, how to manage, everything. I'm going to try to cover everything in the phone flipping space that I know is used to continue to make you thrive and go. Okay. So now, when it comes to phone flipping, the first thing that I want to talk about is going to be honestly what you need to know, right? Phone flipping is not easy. It's not hard, but it's not easy. It's not something that you could just wake up and roll out of bed and just do, right? Because you have people on OfferUp, and this is the main platform I would start out with. And I always say this because OfferUp is something that is so undervalued for some weird reason. But even right now, like y'all literally just saw, I just got on here. Like, this is no cap. Like, I'm just getting on here. Okay. And I already see iPhone 15 Pro brand new 800, right? And factory sealed brand new. Now, here's the problem. Here's what you need to know as well. These could very well be fake. They could be very well fake. And there's no way for me to honestly tell unless I get these devices in my hand and open them. Now, long story short, I ended up falling for this trap with iPhone 15 Pro Maxes. I came across an individual that had them, and I negotiated them down to a really good price. Picked the phones up. They were sealed. Usually, when you are buying phones, and I'm gonna pull up the buyer's price list in a second. Usually, when you're buying phones, you want to buy devices that are sealed because the sealed devices will get you more money. The difference in this scenario was they were fake. Okay, but I didn't know that. And I sold it to a buyer. And the buyer, I think they shipped it to China. And when they shipped it to China, they were a bit upset when they opened it because it was not real. They were Android, and then they blamed it on me. And I can't blame them for blaming it on me because this world is crazy and people will try to scam you. And this brings me to my next point. Right here, as you guys see, right? I have the buyer's phone flipping price list, right? And I just want to first tell you guys, we have a sealed price, and then we have a non-sealed price. Okay. Now, when it comes to sealed usually is not activated in the eyes of the buyer. But if we're being real, they are all activated once they're scanned in. And once they are placed into inventory. But see, this is when it gets a bit sticky because that's not always true. If it's like an iPhone 13 or an iPhone 13 Pro or that type of model or SIM card model, it doesn't necessarily have to be activated when it is scanned. Like an eSIM though, the eSIM is placed on your account, which would technically mean once they like scan the iPhone 15 or the 15 Pro Max or the 14 Pro or 14 Pro Max, usually they're activated even when they're sealed in the box. But buyers don't usually care. I have one of them. I ain't gonna lie. I have one of the most flexible buyers price lists around when it comes to deductions, because they don't really take too many deductions off. And if they do, then it's sort of kind of something that, you know, is universal. Okay. Now, knowing this, you're going to need a buyer's price list. Now, maybe not one, maybe two, maybe three. If you're not dealing with a buyer's price list that has multiple buyers on it, like mine, prime example, mine has 25 in the country and 25 out of the country. And it's based on a bidding system. So as you see, an iPhone 15 Pro Max 256 natural right now is $920 unlocked. This is not going to be the price that a buyer will pay you. The buyer will not pay you this price. The buyer is going to start at this price. So if we were to look up, we're looking up an iPhone 15 Pro Max, right? We were looking up at an iPhone 15 Pro Max. We're going to see a whole bunch, right? And you're going to see some that are reasonable prices and some that aren't, right? Like this one right here. This is titanium. This is 15. Well, is it 15? 1,150. This right here is 900, but this is used. If we're looking for a new one, which I'm sure this is new, yeah. If we're looking for a new one, which that's what I'm trying to look for, a new one, which you're not going to find a lot of new ones, and I'm going to tell you why too, because not a lot of people are able to get the new ones. Now you'll have something like this where somebody will show you a picture of phones in their hands. This is a wholesale seller. I mean, this is a wholesale seller's picture. Let me make that clear. I won't say this is a wholesale seller. I don't know this person from can of paint, but I would say it's a wholesale seller. This was 1 month ago. But as you guys see, this is a lock phone. These are locked phones. And look at the prices, right? I can tell a lot by the prices. And what I mean by that is $750. It shows me, okay, you're either a wholesale buyer or you're somebody scamming and these phones are fake. Why? Because see, an iPhone 15 Pro Max 256 right now in the market, I look at the price list and I see that it's worth $920. That doesn't necessarily mean that a wholesale seller is going to try to seek that amount. Usually they're going to try to look for an amount a little bit lower, but we still got to be reasonable and we still got to be respectful of the market, right? So you'll find, I'm just looking, you'll find a iPhone 15 Pro Max like this for $1,500 or for $940. You'll find another one for $750, but this is used. So if we were going to go use the price list, we got to go over to the used section, and then now it starts to make a little bit more sense. $760, right? So now it starts to make a little bit more sense. As you guys see, the market always ties back. It always comes back to the ceiling or to the floor, right? Before, if you would have looked at these phones, I would say 3 months ago, they're at 1,500. They're almost at 2,000. Like these people are just making weird behind prices. The reason why the phone market is starting to just get regular and become just neutral is because there's about to be a new phone. So this is the perfect time for you to learn how to start flipping phones now, because see, what happens is when a new phone comes out, that's when all of the old phones, they start to lose a little bit of value. So all of the phone flipping buyers are going to start to attack people to start buying up phones, and all of the wholesale sellers. Now, let me define what a wholesale seller is. A wholesale seller is somebody that gets phones on an everyday basis and looks to just sell them. They're not phone flippers like us. They think they're phone flippers, but they're really not, because they're not going off of market value. They're only going off of buyer value. I'm going to say it again. Wholesale sellers do not go off of market value. They go off of phone value. So the people that you may see on YouTube that's like, oh my God, this is how you find the value of a phone. You go to ebay.com and then you look up iPhone 15 Pro Max 256. And then you can go all the way down to sold. Oops. What did I just do? Okay. And then you can automatically see exactly what you should be pricing or buying phones at. This is not true. This person, this is a pre-owned Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max for US Cellular. But why would I gauge my price off of this when US Cellular isn't even near me? It's not on the East Coast. Okay. Then what the heck? Okay. Then we got an iPhone 15 Pro Max 256 Black AT&T. Check IMEI. 4 parts. $600. But I can't base my price off of this because mine isn't. I'm not like a parts specialist or trying to buy this for parts. I've obviously blacklisted probably. So there's so many different situations and reasonings for prices. And that's why you want to, when you're first starting out, you want to get a price list that is going to tell you the market value, not going to tell you how much it's worth to him and him and him and her and her and him. That's not important. It's not important. I'm going to say it again for all of my people in the back, for everybody that's just starting out or trying to start phone flipping. You need to find the market value, not the consumer value. They're two different things. Okay. Now, that is why we would use a price list. We see that an iPhone 15 Pro Max right now is worth $760 on the market. That means that 25 buyers in the United States of America and 25 buyers in Honduras, Egypt, because I want to Australia. We have a bunch. Australia, Europe, DR. I'm going to the DR soon to see him again. But all of these buyers, they compose their prices, and we got the median price. Okay, this is the median price. So how does it work? It works like this. You see 760. You go. You find a phone. Period. You want to find a phone. So we're going to just take away shipping because we don't want to do shipping. We want to meet you right now. I want to give you the money in your hand. We never want to trust someone with our money, and we never want to give somebody something before we get. We don't want to do that, especially with phone flipping, right? So now that I am sort of kind of gauging the market in my area, I can see something for $750. I see iPhone 15 Pro Max Titanium Blue, $750. Now, this is going to be the perfect time because a lot of people are trying to sell these devices to get ready. They're trying to get ready to get a new phone or get ready to clear out their inventory so they can buy the 16 and maybe resell that too. Now, iPhone 15 Pro Max Titanium Blue, like new, no cracks, no scratches, T-Mobile locked, 256. And then he starts talking all this other stuff. Now, I see it's T-Mobile locked, 256, right? So it's locked. So now I got to go to the price list and I got to go to the locked price. So I see $540 is the market value. Again, when you are phone flipping, you want to focus on the market value. You do not want to focus on the consumer value. Consumer value is going to dictate what a consumer values it to be worth, but not what the market values it to be worth. So if I have let's say I have a Xbox controller, right? So this Xbox controller is great. I have 3 of these. 2 of them got damaged, right? I think my son wanted to play Fortnite, right? So my son wanted to play Fortnite, but one of the controllers wasn't working. So I said, dang, okay, he got upset. So I'm like, okay, he's getting upset. Now it's becoming more valuable to me for me to actually buy one. I go online, I look, I see the price. It's a lot. It's like $200 and some dollars. I'm like, bet. I'm really not trying to pay that, but at this point in time, I'd rather play with my son. So I'm like, all right, I'll kick it out, right? But then I'm like, well, it's even more valuable to me now because I would have to wait. It wasn't able to be shipped Prime. So I said, you know what? I have to go to GameStop. So I went to GameStop and I paid even more money than I would have with Amazon just because the value started to increase as the demand. And the demand was my son, right? And it's the same thing with phones. So if you go based upon a consumer's value, you're cutting yourself short because this is what they deem it to be value. Okay, they deem it to be valued at $670 because maybe this person needs a Verizon iPhone 15 Pro Max 256, right? But then you don't know necessarily if that's going to be your target market, or if the person or the consumer that you're trying to sell it to, or whatever your long game is. Remember, you have to have a long game. What are you trying to do as a phone flipper? Are you trying to start a refurbishing company? Are you trying to start a cell phone store? Are you trying to build so that you can have phones that you can sell to businesses? Like, what are you trying to do in the long run? Because this really matters. Now, boom, you see that it's 540. Now let me explain to you why you want to do market value, right? Why is my price list based upon market value and not any type of value of what the buyer sees? Because the buyer is going to offer you higher than this, right? The buyer, you say, okay, I want to sell you on this page right here on information. There's the information on how to email us to let us know what device you're selling, right? You are going to email us, hey, I got an iPhone 15 Pro Max locked. It is with T-Mobile. We then send it to all 50 buyers. They then start sending their prices. Okay, I'll pay X amount. I'll pay X amount. We just choose the highest amount, send you exactly what the buyer said they will pay, and then you say yay or nay, right? That's how that works. Why do we start off low? Because of this. So let me show you why. So the market value is 540. All right, bet. So I know I'll go up to this person. I'll say, hey, I'm not going to ask them, right? I'm not going to say, hey, can you do? I'm very intentional with my approach. I can do, right? That's it. Then I'm going to go over to the calculator. Okay. And I'm going to show you why we deal with market value instead of dealing with consumer value. And I'm going to show you this is the difference between somebody that's actually really phone flipping in real life and somebody that's phone flipping on YouTube. Because if I take a phone and I don't get the maximum amount of profit, I can't pay my people. If I get a phone and I don't get the maximum amount of profit, I don't get to eat. Because see, it's not that simple. People have bills to pay and people have lives to live, right? Vacations to go on. Like it's way bigger. Profit is way more important, right? So $540 the market value, but I want to make, let's just say, a $50 profit. Okay. So that's $490. That is my ceiling. What does the ceiling mean? The ceiling means I can't go above it, right? That's what that means. I can't go above that price. I will not allow myself mentally to go above that price. I walk away from a deal if it's $500, right? Some may say, okay, Brandon, that's too low. Mine would be 90. Okay, 450. Or some say that might be too low, Brandon. Mine would be 100. Now, this is where common sense goes into play. Do you think somebody's going to sell you a phone for 400? Well, sell you an iPhone 15 Pro Max 256 for $440? No, absolutely not. Why? That's why you have to understand you don't want to buy higher tier phones. Starting out, I'm saying. Because the higher the tier, the less profit you make. That's why when a 16 comes out, I ain't touching it. I'm not going to touch it. I can buy it. I might buy it for myself, but I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it because it's not going to give me any better profit margin, or it's not going to do anything for me. I might buy it so I can put it in the thumbnail for a video, but that's it. I'm not buying it to actually reap benefits because there's no difference. And we're going to get into that. I just want to stay on pricing and how you really truly can make money, right? So we have 540 is the market value. That doesn't mean that's what the buyer is going to offer you. That just means that's the value, the evaluation of what that phone is worth in the market currently. Okay. Minus that by the 50 that we want to make profit. We have 490. That is our ceiling. Now, when I go into negotiations, and if we start talking about the art of negotiations, we have to start to understand that negotiating terms can really get hectic when it comes to how greedy or fair we are. Okay, we're either going to be greedy or we're going to be fair, right? I can literally just say 490 but that wouldn't leave me any type of wiggle room to be able to negotiate, right? So I can say, okay, off this 490, I'll take 50 more off. Or I can say off this 490, I'll take 30 off, or I'll take 20 off. Now, why are you taking it off? Because I can say I can do 460. And I hope this person responds. I can do 460 right now. Somebody just left me a voice message. Who is that? Somebody? Let's see. No. All right. So I can do $460 right now. You still have the box, right? Now I'm gonna say that, and let me just break down what my tactic is for my approach, right? You can do this on Facebook Marketplace, you can do it on OfferUp. I don't deal with Facebook Marketplace as a beginner because Facebook Marketplace is going to have older people. OfferUp is going to have hustlers. It's a difference. Hustlers don't really sell on Facebook Marketplace. Let me just explain to you why. Because there's so many bots. It's so much extra BS you have to deal with Facebook. When on OfferUp, all you got to do, literally, you can be in the car after getting the phone from off of somebody else's account, and they just like, and then they list it, and then they go about their day. And when somebody offer, it just go to their phone. Facebook, it's more so you got to put in the details. You got to make sure your listing is still up. Now, don't get me wrong. More professional people are on Facebook, but you're going to get the hustlers that are going to be an OfferUp. That's just what it is. You're going to get the hustlers. And that's how I know, especially when I'm watching YouTube, because I watch phone flipping videos sometimes. I know when people are really about this life, when I see what platforms they're promoting for people to go and attack people on. Because you can't attack anybody really on Facebook. Because see, just like you're attacking somebody on Facebook, you're attacking people on Facebook in a manner that they're probably already presented like 18 other times, right? Because you got people, shout out to you, Dom, what's up? You got people that are putting these free I buy phone ads up all the time. All the time. You got people that are using the bots, people that are using these apps. It's so saturated on Facebook Marketplace. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people on OfferUp. But just starting out, I would definitely use OfferUp because I can know who's in my area. I can know that it's just like a mom and pops app to me. It's like I know it's more simple. Okay, it's more simple. So hey, I can do 460 right now. That is my first hook. My first hook is letting you know the price that I can do. Whether it turns you off or turns you on, I don't care. That's what price is fair to me. Okay. Starting out in business, you have to understand the most important thing is making sure your ass is covered. I'm going to say it again. Starting out in business with anything, make sure your ass is covered. If you are just trying to do business off of price and you're just trying to make sure that you please other people with price, you're going to end up broke. No, you have to make it fair, right? So 460 right now. I say right now because this is going to be something that is mentally, it stimulates people mentally sometimes, not everybody, but because this person could be at work and they're like, damn, right now, free, right? But that's still a stimulation. It creates sense of urgency. And this goes into the 4 factors of impulse. So I'm a real salesman, right? I'm somebody that really has had to sell myself. Okay, pause. Nothing like that, but you know what I mean? I had to sell myself. Okay. And I understand that the way I approach someone, whether it's through text, email, or in person, it's very important because I can then mentally stimulate them in a negative or a positive way. And last but not least, and I say you still have the box, right? So I say you still have the box because I need to have some type of, well, it could be higher. I got to have some type of indifference, right? I can't come off as just a salesman straight to the point because then that becomes a bit aggressive. And somebody that doesn't communicate in that way won't resonate and won't come back in a sane mindset. They might just say F no or whatever, or you stink or whatever, right? So it's more so like, okay, you still have a box, right? Right is the insinuation saying, hey, listen, I assume you have the box, right? So like, if I was to look at you right now and say, hey, you made sure that you had that thing, right? And then you might be like, what thing are you talking about? That thing, like the thing that you told me about. Remember? You told me you had that thing, right? It sort of kind of makes you start to think. All right, so we're gonna send that.